ഓം ശ്രീ ഗണേശായ നമഃ. ശ്രീ സരസ്വത്यै നമഃ. ശ്രീ സദ്ഗുരുഭ്യോ നമഃ. സമസ്തജനകല്യാണേ നിരതം കരുണാമയം നമാമി ചിന്മയം ദേവം സദ്ഗുരും ബ്രഹ്മവിദ്വരം. മനോജവം മാരുതതുല്യവേഗം ജിതേന്ദ്രിയം ബുദ്ധിമതാം വരിഷ്ടം. വാതാത്മജം വാനരയൂതമുഖ്യം ശ്രീരാമദൂതം ശിരസാ നമാമി. സന്തോഷിണീ ജഗന്മാതാ മമ സൗഭാഗ്യവൃദ്ധയേ നമസ്കരോമി ഭക്ത്യാ ത്വാം പ്രസന്നാ വരദാ ഭവ. ശങ്കരം ശങ്കരാചാര്യം കേശവം ബാദരായണം സൂത്രഭാഷ്യകൃതൗ വന്ദേ ഭഗവന്തൗ പുനഃ പുനഃ. ഓം നമഃ പ്രണവാർത്ഥായ ശുദ്ധജ്ഞാനൈകമൂർത്തയേ നിർമ്മലായ പ്രശാന്തായ ദക്ഷിണാമൂർത്തയേ നമഃ. സച്ചിദാനന്ദരൂപായ വിശ്വോത്പത്യാദിഹേതവേ താപത്രയ വിനാശായ ശ്രീകൃഷ്ണായ വയം നമഃ. നീലാംബുജശ്യാമളകോമളാംഗം സീതാസമാരോപിതവാമഭാഗം പാണൗ മഹാസായകചാരുചാപം നമാമി രാമം രഘുവംശനാഥം. ജന്മാദ്യസ്യ യതോന്വയാതിതരതശ്ചാർത്തേഷ്വഭിജ്ഞസ്വരാട് തേനേ ബ്രഹ്മഹൃദായ ആദികവയേ മുഹ്യന്തി യത്സൂരയഃ. തേജോ വാരിമൃതാം യഥാ വിനിമയോ യത്ര ത്രിസർഗോ മൃഷാ ധാംനാ സ്വേന സദാ നിരസ്തകുഹകം സത്യം പരം ധീമഹി. ധർമ്മപ്രോജ്ജിതകൈതപുത്രപരമോ നിർമത്സരാണാം സദാം വേദ്യം വസ്തവമത്ര വസ്തു ശിവദം താപത്രയോന്മൂലനം. ശ്രീമദ്ഭാഗവതേ മഹാമുനികൃതേ കിം വാ പരൈരീശ്വരഃ സദ്യോ ഹൃദ്യവരുധ്യതേऽത്ര കൃതിഭിः ശുശ്രൂഷുഭിः തക്ഷണാത്. നിഗമകൽപതരോർഗലിതം ഫലം ശുകമുഖാദമൃതദ്രവസംയുതം പിബത ഭാഗവതം രസമാലയം മുഹുരഹോ രസികാ ഭുവി ഭാവുകാഃ. യം പ്രവ്രജന്തമനുപേതമപേതകൃത്യം ദ്വൈപായനോ വിരഹകാതര ആജുഹാവ. പുത്രേതി തന്മയതയാ തരവോഭിനേദുഃ തം സർവഭൂതഹൃദയം മുനിമാനതോസ്മി. യസ്വാനുഭാവമഖിലശ്രുതിസാരമേകം അധ്യാത്മദീപമതിതിതിർഷതാം തമോന്ധം സംസാരിണാം കരുണയാഃ പുരാണഗുഹ്യം तं व्याससूनुमुपयामि गुरुं मुनीनां नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. So we saw the story where Bhagavan Krishna took all Pandavas to the Kurukshetra, where Bhishma Pitamaha was lying down on the Sharashayya. The reason Bhagavan took everybody there, one reason was to remove the confusion or dejection that Yudhishthira felt after the war. Even in the throne, occupying the throne, he felt miserable. He could not sleep. So Bhagavan thought that the same situation Arjuna faced before the war, at that time Bhagavan could teach him Bhagavad Gita. But now he thought, I cannot repeat it again. So he wanted somebody else to do that job. So therefore, that is one reason. Second reason is, Bhishma Pitamaha was the greatest devotee of Bhagavan. So he wanted to bless Bhishma Pitamaha in his last moment. So, Bhishma Pitamaha, having seen him, he addressed Bhagavan Krishna and demanded that all devotees wait for your darshanam. But here, the whole thing is different. Oh, you Bhagavan, you wait for me to leave my body. That also, he said, you have to stand in front of me with all your glory as Bhagavan, Shanga Chakra Gadadhari, Pidambaradhari, also with smiling face. Now here is where in Mahabharata it is written, Bhishma Pitamaha came out with this 1,000 names of Bhagavan Vishnu Sahasranama, the famous Vishnu Sahasranama. But here that is not told here. Here it is Bhishma Stuti. This Stuti is very famous. That is where we stopped last time. Now you see Bhishma Uvacha. Iti mati rupa kalpita vitrishna Bhagavati sattvata pungave vibhumni susukhamupagate kuchit vihartum prakrtimupeyushi yadbhava pravaha. Meman iti mati upakalpita vitrishna. Mati vitrishna. Vitrishna mati. My mind, purified mind, because of his lifelong tapas. Bhishma Pitamaha was a great tapasvi, taking the most difficult vows in his life. And as a result of that, his mind is freed from all desires. And such a mind, Vishnu Pitamaha say, I surrender to you. Upakalpita Bhagavati Sattvata Pungave Vibhumni. Sattvata Pungava is the Supreme Lord, and also appearing in the skin of Yaduvamsha. Sattvata Pungava Sasukham Upagate Kuchit Vihartum. And who is in reality reveling in his own Ananda Swarupa, so Sukha Upakate Kuchit Vihartum Prakriti Upeyushi Yat Bhava Prabhavaha, who is the origin of the entire creation, all the while reveling in his own inherent bliss. And he desired to have a little diversion from that. All the time, drinking payasam, kheer, you get tired, you see. The same way Bhagavan is reveling in bliss. He must have got little tired. So he wanted a change. Little mirchi masala he wanted. So he took avatara using his own yoga maya. That is why he come forth this imaginary vast flow, that is the universe, and he created this world and he entered into it. Tat drishtva tadevanu pravishate. Tribhuvana gamanam tamalavarnam ravikara gaurava rambaram tadane Vapuralaka kula vrtananabjam Vijaya Sakhe Ratirastu Me Navadya. May I have unfailing and absolute devotion, which is not even seeking liberation. So this is the devotion. The real devotion is what? Not even interested in moksha. Even the desire for moksha is not there. That is simple love. Why are you loving God? I can't but love. So that is the idea. So there is not even a trace of desire. I want this, I want this. That the thought is not there. O friend of Arjuna, Vijaya Sakhe, and who has this enchanting body, brilliant like the rays of the morning sun. Yudhituragarajo vidhumra vishwak kachalulita shrama varyalankrtasye mama nishita share vibhidyamana tochi vilasat kavachestu Krishna Atma. Now he is remembering that Lord in the battlefield. How he remembers that Lord, his hair rendered brown because of the dust coming from the hoofs of these horses. His face adorned with the sweat caused by the exertion of battle. His armor pierced and blood dripping from his skin. On account of what? On account of receiving sharp arrows from my bow. So, for Krishna, may my mind have unfailing hankering. Let me remember that Lord. So this is what he remembers in the battlefield. Sapati sakavacho dishamya madhe nijaparayor balayoratham niveshya titavati parasainika yurechna kritavati parthasake tirmamastu. Just like a servant obeying his master, Bhagavan obeyed the command of Arjuna to take his chariot in the middle of both armies. So positioning the chariot between the two opposing armies. And what Bhagavan did? with a look, he has already destroyed the Kauravas. And that Krishna, the friend of Arjuna, stationed thus, be the object of my abiding love. Vyavahita pruthanamukam nirikshya sojanavatat vimukhasya dosha buddhya kumati maham radatma vidyaya yaccharanarati paramasya tasya mestu. May I have supreme devotion to the holy feet of that Lord who was teaching the truth of Atman, giving Atma Vidya to remove the ignorance of Arjuna, who was completely confused or afraid of the sin that he had to commit in killing his own grandsire, guru, and relatives. On both sides, he was afraid. At that time, Bhagavan gave this Upadesha to him. To that, Bhagavan, my namaskara. Now, so nigamamapahaya matpraditnyam mridamadikartumavaluktho radhastaha dhritarata charanom varanchalat grahiriva handumimam gadottariya haririva. Now he says, Bhagavan Krishna took a vow that he will not take up arm in the battlefield. When Bhishma Pitamaha heard that vow, he also took a vow that I will make him take up arms. That was Bhishma Pitamaha's vow. Now Bhishma Pitamaha says here, you broke your vow to keep my vow going. In the battlefield, one day it was very difficult for Arjuna even to wield his bow and arrow. He could not take arrow from his arm, what do you call this? So that speed, Vishnu Pitama's speed was so much that Arjuna was completely confounded and he could not move. He was completely arrested in his own chariot. And such a situation came to save Arjuna. Bhagavan jumped from his chariot, and that is why it is said, Ratha Charanombaya Chalat. So there was a chariot, broken chariot was there. So Ratha Charana means the wheel of Ratha. He pulled the wheel of the Ratha and took it as a chakra and then rushed towards Bhishma Pitamaha. At that time, Arjuna jumped from the chariot, ran after Krishna. Bhagavan, you cannot do it. You took a vow. You have to keep that vow. And all that. And Bhishma Pitamaha, having seen Krishna, he kept his bow and arrow and he said, Bhagavan, please come, kill me. That was his desire also. But that did not take place at that time. So that Bhagavan, Sita Vishikahato Dishirnavam Sahakshata Japaripluta Atatayino me Prasabham Apisasara Dattvadartham Sabhavatu me Bhagavan Gedir Mukunda. So, Bhagavan rushed towards Bhishma Pitamaha, in the process, his Uttariya fell down. He was ignorant, he was unconcerned about it. He rushed towards Bhishma Pitamaha to kill him. May that Krishna in that battlefield, looming vividly in my memory, be the refuge of my soul. Vijayarata Kutumba Aktatotre Dridahayarasmini Tachriyakshaniye Bhagavati Ratirastu me Mumurshor Ahamiha Niricha Hatagata Sarupam. All those who died in battle, everybody think that Bhagavan favored Pandavas. But according to Bhishma he says it is not so. In fact, Bhagavan favored the Kaurava because with his look, all the Kauravas, when they were dying, they had the great opportunity to see Bhagavan Krishna and then die. So, antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. So, that bhagyam only Kauravas had. Pandavas did not have that. So, all of them attained mukti. So, Bhagavan gave Sayujya mukti or Sarupya mukti or Salokya mukti to all of them who died as they saw him and died in the battlefield. To that Bhagavan, may my mind rest. And 42nd verse. Tamimamahamajam sharira bhajam hridihridishtidamatmakalpidanam pratidrishamivanaikadarkamekam samadhigadosmi vidhuta bhedamoha. Just as one sun appears variously as the light in the eyes of everyone, Bhagavan as though one, he resides as if separately in the hearts of all beings. And may he rid off the delusion of multiplicity. May I now become one with that unitary being. Now, Sutaji says, Krishna evam bhagavati manovak drishti vrittivihi atmanyatmanamaveshya sondashvasa uparamat. Bhishma breathed his last, uniting himself with Bhagavan Krishna, with his vital energy suspended and his mind, speech and sight directed to him in a unified mental mode. So he got absorbed in Bhagavan Krishna. Then, Sambatyamanamajnaya Bhishmam Brahmani Niskale Sarve bhabuste tushnim vayam sivadinatyaye. All those people assembled there became mute, silent, like the birds at dusk. Now knowing that great Bhishma had dissolved into that supreme Brahman, then what happened? Tatra Ndubayo Nedur Devamanavavaditaha Sasamshusadhavo Rajñam Khatpedu pushpavrishtayah. Then they heard all, all the heavenly vadyam, the sound of the kettle drums and rains of flowers from the heavens. Tasya narharanadini sambare tasya bhargava yudhishthirakarayitva muhurtam dukkhido bhavet tushtururmanunayo hrishta krishnam tat guhyanamabhihi tataste krishnahridayaha swashramat prayayupuraha. Then Yudhishthira performed all the last rites according to the code and observing period of mourning. Though Bhishma, who had attained to the highest, required none of this. The overjoyed Mahatmas sang praise of Krishna. Afterwards, Yudhishthira and Krishna went to Hastinapura to console the sorrow-stricken elders, Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, who were grieving for their lost son. And now when they heard Bhishma Pitamaha also. Now, Pitra cha anumato ratnya Vasudeva anumodidaha Chakara rajyam dharmena Pitr paidamaham vibhu. The great Yudhishthira, with the consent of and blessing of Dhritarashtra and the blessings of Sri Krishna, then assumed the reins of the government of the kingdom and administered the kingdom according to the laws of the land. That chapter is over. Now next chapter, the 10th chapter, Shaunaka Vacha, Hatva Swarikta Pritha Atatayino Yudhishtiro Dharma Pradam Varishta Sahanujai Pratyavaruddha Bhojanaha Katham Pravritta Kimakara Shitaha. Shaunaka is asking the question, how did Yudhishthira, the greatest among the righteous, engage himself in the administration of the land along with his brothers after he destroyed his enemy Suyodhana, who waged war and usurped his kingdom? Now Sutaji says, Vamsham Kuror Vamshadavakni Nirhridam Samrohayitva Bhavabhavano Harihi Niveshayitva Nijarajya Ishwaro Yudhishtiram Pritamana Bhavuvaha Nishamya Bhishmokta Madhachutoktam Pravurta Vijnana Vidhuta Vibramaha Shashasha Gamindra Ivajidashaya Parityubanda Manujanu Vartitaha. Hari, the protector of the world, the one who has protected Parikshit in his mother's womb, saved from extinction the clan of the Kurus. He was then pleased to install Yudhishthira in his own kingdom. Yudhishthira's mind was freed from all confusion as wisdom dawned on him through the advice of Krishna as well as of Bhishma Pitamaha. With his mind always resigned to Krishna, completely devoted to Bhagavan, assisted by his brothers, he began to rule his kingdom, extending to the limits of the sea, as Indra rules over the heavens. Kamam varshavarjanya sarvakamadudhamahi shishishusma vrajan gavaha payasodas sutir muda. During his rule, the clouds rained according to the need. The earth became fertile and high yielding, and cows with swelling udders bathed their sheds with flowing milk. Rivers, seas, mountain, trees, herbs, and cultivated crops all became fruitful according to season. During the rule of Yudhishthira, his subjects were free from worries and diseases, as also from trouble caused by super mundane causes. Now, after staying Ushitva Hastinapure Masan Katipayan Harihi Suhurdam cha Vishokaya Sushuscha Priyakamya. After staying in Hastinapura for another 1 month, consoled his friend and his sister Subhadra. He bade farewell to Yudhishthira and finally received his permission to depart. He then got into his chariot to go to his city of Dwaraka. And this people who had the company, the Pandavas who had the company of Bhagavan himself, you can imagine how they felt when Bhagavan departed. Tulsidas says, Dushta Jana and the noble people and ignoble people both give sorrow. How? The ignoble, the evil people, when they come, they give you sorrow. The noble people, when they leave you, they give you sorrow. So that way both give you sorrow. So here, all those people who felt miserable leaving Bhagavan because his presence, he doesn't have to say anything. His presence itself is satsanga. So who are all the both men and women, like Sudra, Panchali, Kunti, Uttara, Gandhari, Dhritarashtra, Yuyutsu, Kripa, Nakula, Sahadeva, Bhima, Daumya, and you see, Satyavati is still alive. Think about it, she lived long. Even after the Mahabharata war destruction, she was still alive. So, even to think of separation from Sri Krishna without feeling shocked or bewildered, that is a surprise. Now, these people, how they must have felt, because they were always seeing him, touching him, conversing with him, and sleeping with him. How they must have felt. And as they were leaving, Arjuna held over his beloved friend the white imperial umbrella, decorated with pearl garlands and having a diamond-studded handle. Uddhava and Satyaki waved beautiful bunches of chauri, hair from both sides of the Lord. Again and again were heard the words of blessing pronounced by Brahmanas. The all ladies of Hastinapura, they bade farewell to Bhagavan Krishna. Now, Ajatashatrupradanam Gopidhaya Madhudvijaha Parebhya Sangita Snehat Prayunta Chaturangini. Now look at this. Yudhishthira, out of love for Krishna, for Bhagavan Krishna's protection, he sent with him a Chadurangi Sena. Look at this. Bhagavan doesn't need anybody's protection, but out of love for him. Now, this is, but Bhagavan accepted also. He didn't say, I don't want anything, but he accepted it. He understood it was the Yudhishthira's love for him. Tatra tatra te hari pratyuttadarhana sayam veje disha paschat vishtogam gadastada. After crossing over many places through the land of the Kurus, Panchalas, and Yamuna, Brahmavarta, Kurukshetra, Matsya, Saraswata region, and intervening the desert, and reached finally Dwaraka by evening. And wherever Bhagavan was passing through, people came to know. They received him, they offered him all kinds of things and get his blessings, and finally reached the western region as the sun too was setting in the west. Sutavacha anartan sa upavrajya smriddhan janapadan sogan Tatmau varavaram daravaram tesham vishadam samayanniva. Reaching his own land, Bhagavan took his conch and blew his panchajanya to announce his presence. Itself white in color but rendered slightly crimson when applied to the ruby lips of the Lord. The conch on being held in his lotus-like hand and sounded looked like the Rajahamsa calling from amidst the cluster of lotus flowers. It's all poetic. Tamupasutyaninadam jagatbhayabhayavaham pratyutthayu praja sarva bhartu darshanalalasa. And that sound of conch which drove away all fear from the minds of men. Listening to that, large number of people assembled there to receive Bhagavan, to great Bhagavan. And 16, Nishamya Prashtamayantam Vasudevo Mahamanaha Akrurachugrasenasya Ramachatbhuta Vikramaha Pradyumnacharudeshnascha Sambo Jambavati Sudaha Prashavego Shushita Shayanasana Bhojana. Hearing that their dear one was arriving, high-souled Vasudeva, Akrura, Ugrasena, Balrama, Pradyumna, Niruddha, Samba, the son of Jambavati, all in their excitement of love got up from wherever they were, whether lying, sleeping, or sitting, or eating, all went to receive Bhagavan Krishna. Bhagavan tatra bandhunam pauranam anivartinam yatha vidyupasangamya sarvesham manamadade. Lord honored all the assembled relatives in a manner fitting and appropriate to each one of them. Patnyaha patim preshya grihanupagadam vilokya sanjada mano mahotsava uttasturara sahasasanashayat sakam vrater viridalojanananaha. Now, seeing their husbands approach from a distance with intense delight, these wives of Krishna, 16,008, they gave up their vratam. They were observing vratam for his return. And they gave up their vratam and rising from their seat and went near him with eyes and looks charming in their beauty. It is a tam menire abala muda strainam chanuvratam raha apramanavido bhartruhu ishwaram matayo yatha. Just as the pseudo I of man, ahankara, considered the witness I, Ishvara, as involved and identify with all its modification. So these women who are ignorant of the real nature of Krishna, their husband, looked upon him as a hen-pecked man under their thumb. Think about it. This is the account of who our Sukadev. Yeah. What Sutaji is telling us. Now, Shaunaka asked this question. Shaunaka vacha ashwatham nopasustena brahmashishno rutejasa taraya hato garbham ईशेना जीवित पुनः तस्य जन्म महाबुद्धे कर्माणि च महात्मनः निधनं च यथेवासीत् सप्रेत्य यथा ततितं श्रोतुमिच्छामः गतितं यदि मन्यसे ब्रूहि नः श्रद्धदानानां यस्य ज्ञानमदाशुकः. It was said that in the fetus of Uttara, Bhagavan Krishna protected him from the missile of Ashwathama. We are interested to know that high-souled one, the lucky one, his birth and his accomplishments. We also want to know how Shuka happened to impart the supreme knowledge to him. What was the occasion where Shuka Maharshi happened to impart this Bhagavatam in 7 days to Parikshit? All the stories we want to hear. Now Sutaji says, Apipalat dharmaraja pitarvat sanjayan praja nisprahas sarvakamebhya Krishnapadabja sevaya. Dharmaraja ruled out the country as a father over a family. being himself free from all worldly desires because of his practice of devotion to Sri Krishna. Unlimited wealth, the performance of yajnas, old Jambat Juba, fame extending up to heaven, all these blessings for which even the gods long, failed to give any joy to him whose mind longed only for Krishna. Just as a man suffering from a gnawing hunger failed to get satisfaction from anything except food. So even though Yudhishthira was reveling in luxury, but still his mind was longing Krishna darshana lalasa, like gopis. Now, seventh verse. Madhurgarbhagato viraha satata prukudandana darasya purusham kachit dahyamanostra tejasa. Prukudandana here is addressed to Chaunaka. O son of Bhrigu, Parikshit in his mother's womb, scorched by the flame of Ashwatthama's Brahma missile, noticed a divine person close by. Vidooya tatame atma bhagavan dharmagut vibho vishato dashamasasya tatreva andaddate hari. He saw immaculate, decked with shining diadem. All of them are a thumb size, okay? Tiny Bhagavan. Extremely handsome. He had the darshan of Bhagavan there in the mother's womb. And until the power of Brahma missile subsided, Bhagavan presence was there. And now afterward, the 10 months old fetus was looking on, and Parikshit as a baby in the womb looking on. The vision of Bhagavan disappeared as the power of Brahmastra also disappeared. In the 12th verse, Tatas sarva gunodarke sanugulagrahodaye jitne vamshadara pandor bhuya pandurivahujasa. Then at the auspicious moment, when all the planets stood in favorable position, was born Parikshit, the sustainer of Pandu's line, whose natural majesty made one thing that the great Pandu himself was reborn in him. And Yudhishthira, tasya prida manaraja, viprethom kripadini jatakam karayamasa vachayitva cha mangalam. The overjoyed king Yudhishthira, he performed the post-natal ceremony for the child with the help of Brahmanas like Daumya, Kripa and others who chanted the purificatory mantras. Yudhishthira, who knew the value of gifts, now gave away in the most auspicious time of birth of his great-grandson. In the family, countless gifts to Brahmanas consisting of gold, milk cows, lands, villages, elephant and horses, and treated them to a splendid feast. Highly pleased with the humble and cordial behavior of the king, the Brahmana said, "O leader of the Pauravas, when the sprout of the righteous Kuru race was destroyed by the inevitable consequences of past karmas, he was saved by the all-powerful Vishnu, and therefore he will be called Vishnu Rata, one saved by Vishnu." So before Parikshit, another name, first name was Vishnu Rata. Now, Yudhishthira asked, "Appesha vamshayan rajashin punyashlokan mahatmanaha anuvartita svidyashasa sadhuvadena sattama." Will this boy follow in the footsteps of great, glorious ancestors, the famous Rajarshis of Kuruvamsha? Will he follow their path? What is his future? So Brahmana Uchu. Now these are the qualities of Parikshit given here. Partha Prajavida Sakshat Ikshvakuriva Manavaha Brahmanya Satyasandascha Ramo Dasharadis Yadha. O son of Kunti, Partha, in protecting his subject, he will be like King Ikshvaku himself. In reverence for holy men and truthfulness, he will be equal to Rama. Yeshadada Sharanyacha Yadah Kwaishi Narashibihi Yesho Vitanita Swanam Daushantiriva Yajvanam. In charity and affording protection to refugees, he will be like Emperor Shibi. There is a story of Shibi Chakravarti, and his story will come. All the stories will come later. And he will be matched to Bharata, the son of Dushyanta, in the performance of yajnas, and thus enhancing the glory of his dynasty. Dhanvinamagraniresha tulyach arjunayor utasha iva durdarshaha samudra iva dustaraha. As a great archer, he will be equal to both his grandfather Arjuna and Kartavira Arjuna. He will be formidable like fire and unsurpassable like ocean. In valor, he will be like lion. In lordliness, like Himalayas. In patience, like birth. And in love, like one's own parent. Like Brahma, the creator, he will be impartial to all. He will be like Maheshwara and affording protection to all. He will be like Vishnu himself and giving boons and blessing like Maheshwara. And affording protection to all, he will be like Vishnu himself. In being the focus of all virtues, he will resemble Krishna himself. He will be liberal. He will be liberal in gift like Ranti Deva. His story also will come. And righteousness like Yayati. Yayati stories will come as Yaduvamsha. In firmness and courage will be like Bali. And in the exuberance of devotion to Krishna, he will be like Prahlada. He will perform many Ashwamedhas and will be pillar to elders. He will be the father of Rajarshis like Janamejaya. For the sake of the earth and dharma, he will even arrest Kali, the evil spirit of the Iron Age. And Yudhishthira was listening to all these good things you are telling about my grandson. Is there anything bad? Tell me. So far, everything looks good. Is there anything bad? They said, yeah, in the end, he will be cursed by a Brahmana Putra, that he will be bitten by Takshaka and will die in 7 days. But that also will be a great blessings. He will be blessed by great saints and sages, and Shuka Maharshi himself will impart him Brahma Vidya, and as a result of it, he realized the truth, attained mukti. Then all those Brahmanas who are masters of astrology advised this king thus this way, Yudhishthira, and receiving rich presents from him, returned to their abodes. And he will become famous in the world as Parikshit, because he will be always testing Pariksheta, whether the form he saw in the womb was the same as was manifesting in all men as the indweller. And he was educated in all 64 kalas. He grew fast from day to day like the moon in the bright fortnight. Now, Raja Yudhishthira was anxious. He performed Ashwamedha sacrifice to remove the papa that he slaughtered in the battlefield. All those soldiers, to atone the sin committed, he performed many Ashwamedha yagas. And in his Ashwamedha Yaga, he invited Bhagavan Krishna also. Bhagavan Krishna also attended all of them and returned to Dwaraka. Now, that ends that chapter. Now comes this Vidurji who went on a Deshadanam when they declared Mahabharata war. He came back. And when he came back, Yudhishthira received him, was very happy to see his uncle. And he wanted to appoint him as minister. He offered him that job also. But this Vidurji refused. And he straightaway went to Dhritarashtra and Gandhari. And he said, "What are you doing here?" Because of you, the whole Kuru Vamsha destroyed. And have you seen this Bhimasena giving you food? Because you are blind, you don't know his attitude. He throwing food in front of you like he's feeding a dog. That kind of contempt he has. Then Dhritarashtra said, we are blind and old, what we can do? He said, give up everything, this desire to live in luxury. Come with me. So overnight, they departed and Vidurji took them to an ashram in the Himalayas. Next day morning, Yudhishthira came and looked at, he has the habit of seeing Dhritarashtra every day, touching his feet, taking his blessings. Next day when he went, nobody was there, and this Sanjaya was sitting there crying. I don't know what happened. They cheated me also. They didn't even tell me. They left. And he was thinking, Yudhishthira thinking, what did I do wrong? Have I lacked in taking care of them? As he was thinking, Naradji came, appeared there and said, don't worry. They were all gone with Vidurji and they are in the ashram. And in 1 month time, Dhritarashtra will attain mukti. And Gandhari also will join him. Now we thought that such an evil person like Dhritarashtra, what will be his gati? Think about it, even at the last moment. If you direct your thought to Bhagavan, Bhagavan will purify you and give you mukti. That is the lesson we have to learn. Now, afterward, there is a Yudhishthira coronated. Now, before that, Arjuna went to Dwaraka with Krishna and he was not coming back after a long time. So, Yudhishthira was worried what is happening to Arjuna. As he was thinking, Arjuna came back. Then he narrated the story how Bhagavan Krishna departed from this world. That is a story in brief. I'll give you details. Okay. Because next class I will not be here. Next Saturday I'm going to be in Chicago. 2 Saturdays I won't be here. So please note that. Otherwise you will be waiting for me. I'll be somewhere else. We'll come back. We'll have the class later. Okay?
Okay, sound.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Next class will be on May 3rd.